Hey, what's up? Yin here, and I'm back with another review video, and today is another Dongle DAC review day, and it is the Kiwiears Allegro. It is retailing for $70 US. It's available on Linso's website. So if you guys are interested to find out more, do check out the unaffiliated link in the description below. So yeah, another Dongle DAC. I've reviewed quite a few dongle DACs recently. I'm not too sure why. Maybe, they just want to focus on dongle DACs. But this is yet another one. This is a cute one, $70. And it's got a nice, look to it. Nothing's fancy. It's just that it's got this special retro, D-pad on this interface here, or the face plate of this dongle DAC, but that's just about it. But it looks cute and retrospective. But inside, it's got the ES9028Q2M DAC chip, and it's got 3.5 single-ended output, okay, and a 4.4 balance output. The single-ended output gives out about 70 milliwatts of power, and the balance output gives out about 155 milliwatts of power. So not a lot of power, but in terms of decoding, it can support PCM up to 32 bits, 384 kilohertz, and DSD up to 256. So not too shabby for the price of $70 US. In terms of the shape of this, is like a little nugget, okay, small little nugget. It's got like an LED indicator at the back here. When you connect to your device, it will light up and it shows the different colors depending on what format you're playing, FLAC or DSD. And on top here you have the volume rocker, okay, plus minus, and these are independent volume rockers. Basically, if your device is at a certain volume, it does not correspond to your device when you are increasing or decreasing the volume. And that's about it. Over here is the USB-C connector. Okay, so you can connect this to a cable. You can either connect to USB-C to a USB-C cable, or you can connect to an adapter or to a lightning cable, depending on what source you're going to connect to. Okay, right, so this is the box that it comes in. So nothing very fancy about it, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that. Now let's talk about the sound. I think that's what most of you are interested in. Firstly, the power. The power output on this is reasonable. I've used it with IEMs with no problems, but with my headphones, Hi-Fi-Man Edition XS, it did struggle a little bit. Didn't really push out the audio through my headphones, so not a very powerful output. Okay, but if you are just going to use it with IEMs, I guess it'll be alright. Okay, now in terms of sound, so this is quite a rough sound. It is quite a old school retro kind of sound that it produced. It's not a very clean sound. It's not going to be a very high fidelity. I mean, it's resolute, but it's not like very clean and clear and pristine kind of sound. It's more of a rough and kind of an old school kind of sound. So in terms of tone and timbre, I could say it's textured, and it's kind of balanced. It's not very balanced. It's quite lean on the bass, and the treble is quite forgiving as well. It's not too bright, but the mids are actually quite forward. So quite an old school sound, right? In terms of the technical performance of this, resolution, as I mentioned, it's not a very resolute little dongle, but yeah, it's alright. In terms of sound separation, it's okay as well. I would say it's actually quite separated. I can tell instruments in their respective order and in their respective soundscape. Alright, the soundstage of this is actually really good. Not the widest, but it's really good for this price. I mean, $60, right? So yeah, pretty good soundstage, pretty good detail retrieval. Not the best, I would say. But in terms of resolution, it's pretty good. Alright, so let's compare this with a few of my other dongle DACs that I have here. First, let's compare it with my favorite, which is the Colorfly. Now, the Colorfly, it sounds warmer, right? It sounds warmer. The soundstage wise is quite similar, but it's a little bit smaller in terms of the soundstage compared to the Allegro. It's more musical, right? The Colorfly is more musical. It's got more bass. The bass is more pronounced, I would say. I wouldn't say more bass. In terms of resolution, this would sound a bit rougher. This one actually is quite resolute in the sense that it shows even the graininess of the track that you are listening to. So it's quite raw, I would say. The sound that it produces is quite raw. Whereas the Colorfly is more musical, is more casual, is more warm, and yeah, overall it sounds more smooth. Yeah, I would say it's not as rough. Okay, so that's with the Colorfly. Next, let's compare it with the S9 Pro Plus. Now, S9 Pro Plus would sound thinner, leaner, and the vocals are more forward on the S9 Pro Plus. The soundstage is almost the same. It's a little bit smaller again, but overall sound on this, it sounds a bit more clinical compared to the Allegro. Allegro has got warmer bass. It's got warmer tone as compared to the S9 Pro Plus, and overall is pretty resolute. I would say this is more resolute than the S9 Pro Plus. Alright, next let's compare to this Awful Snowy Night, which I just reviewed. Now, in terms of resolution, the Awful Snowy Night is definitely much more clean, crisp as compared to the Allegro. It's got a wider soundstage. It's got deeper bass. It's got a warmer sound. It's more dynamic. It's got a little bit less details as compared to the Allegro. Allegro is a bit more rough in terms of the sound, as I mentioned. And in terms of definition, I would say Allegro is a little bit lacking as compared to the Snowy Night. Next, let's compare it with the TP20. TP20 is warmer. It's less definition. It's definitely less resolute. The mids are more recessed. It's more V-shaped. It's more casual sounding than the Allegro. Soundstage is smaller. Allegro, I would feel, has got a wider and deeper soundstage. And overall, I would say TP20 just sounds less clinical as compared to the Allegro. Allegro would sound more refined, yeah, in a way, as compared to the TP20. Next, let's compare it with the KA17 from Feel. The KA17 is more detailed. It's got, well, I would say more resolution. It's got a wider soundstage. The mids are more forward. The treble is brighter. And overall, I would say is, yeah, a better sounding dongle DAC as compared to the Allegro. Well, it's a different device altogether. I would say the KA17 would sound a little bit more balanced than the Allegro, and of course the price is double the price. So yeah, you get what you pay for. Alright, next let's compare with the SimGod DEW4X. DEW4X has got a smaller sound stage, right? It's not as deep and wide as the Allegro. It's got a thinner sound. It sounds leaner than the Allegro. At the same time, it's not as resolute as the Allegro. Allegro sounds a bit more bold, a bit more rough, a bit more raw as compared to the DEW4X. In terms of musicality, I would say the DEW4X is a little bit, I think it's both of them are quite similar, right? In terms of musicality, they're both not very musical, not very warm, and this would sound thin, yeah, as compared to the Allegro. Next, let's compare with the Show, right? So Show is less resolute. It's not as clean and clear as the Allegro. The mids are more recessed on the Show. It's got a smaller stage. It's more casual sounding. It's more fun sounding. It's not as dynamic as the Allegro, and overall I would say this is more for casual listeners. Yeah, this one is more for, I would say it's quite similar crowd, but depends. You know, if you want a leaner bass, then you should go for the Allegro as compared to the Show. Next, let's compare with the KA13. Now, the KA13 is much brighter in the treble. The mids are more forward. It's much more defined in terms of the overall detail retrieval, but it's got less bass. It's got a wider soundstage. And overall, it sounds leaner than the Allegro. I would say it's more clinical sounding as compared to the Allegro. So it depends on what type of sound you are going for. I would say KA13 is more for, you know, if you, classical listeners. If you like more classical music, then KA13 is more suitable for that. Next would be the M15, and this was my favorite. I mean, now the Colorfly is my favorite, but this was my favorite. It's got a more intimate soundstage. It's warmer in bass, and it's got less resolution as compared to Allegro, and the mids are actually surprisingly more recessed as compared to Allegro. Allegro is more forward in terms of the mids. And overall, I would say the Allegro would sound a bit more brighter, than the M15. Alright, so that's the comparison with all the dongle DACs that I have right here. And hopefully with this comparison, you guys can roughly tell what kind of sound you're going to get from this Allegro. I'm not here to judge which is good, which is not good. Overall, I would say it depends on your listening preference. If you like a warmer sound, or you like a leaner sound, something that has brighter sound, a brighter treble, or a darker treble, or something with more bass or less bass, it depends, right? So I'm here to describe to you how this dongle DAC would sound to my ears, right? So that you guys can make an informed decision when you're looking for a dongle DAC. Okay, so this is the $69, well, $70 Kiwiears Allegro, and it's my review of this little device. And that's it for this review. I hope you guys learned something from this video and enjoyed watching this video. And if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and also please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So I hope you guys have a great day ahead, and I'll see you again in my next video. Cheers.